Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next hour, along with Spence.
Good morning and happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So yeah, this is going to be a shorter show. We'll be with you for about an hour. Happy Father's Day again to everybody. Everybody is doing stuff for the family. So yeah, and I've got stuff. Spence is having something special done, and I'm just. That's why we're going to cut it short.
They have to make room for the helicopter to pick me up out on the street.
You cutting trees around?
No, I mean, yeah, I guess you could. Well, we could land on. If I stood on the roof, they could probably throw me one of those ladders. They could climb up the ladder. I still don't. I'm just meeting my son and my grandson, and I just don't know what we're doing yet. But
it's going to be nice.
Oh, it'll be good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
My grandson is at the point now where he's fully engaged. You know, he's going to be 4, and he
makes the decisions.
Well, he's very inquisitive, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And he will, when you explain something to him, I mean, he may or may not get it, but he asks good questions. And the other day, my son set up in the backyard a little play area, like a sandbox, but it had 4 quadrants. It had sand, it had gravel, it had mulch, and it had lava rock. And he loves construction vehicles, and he plays with, so he does all this play out there. So we're playing in the sand side, making roads and things, and using different size wood blocks. I've explained to him, we could take this block of wood and just scrape it across the sand. And what do you have? Road. Oh, and he's all excited. He's doing different sizes. So I take the lava rock and I start throwing the lava rock into the sand. Oh, it's a meteor attack. And the meteors are coming down. He goes, what's a meteor?
Good.
So then I explain the meteor, what it is. And then I said, well, let's build a meteor museum. So we set up a bunch of meteors, like rocks with a road going around it. It was fun. He gets it, you know, so nice. It's fun to be with him. And he still has his moments, but
I mean, they all have the moments, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It makes me glad that, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this jokingly. I'm not serious about, so when you go home, you can say, here, this is yours and leave. Because I remember years when in our first house, when I was working in New York City and I had to commute and I was gone 11 hours a day, maybe longer. So Saturdays were the day when Pam got a break and she could sleep late. We both got up early. I used to get up at 5 to go into the city. And so Saturday mornings, I'd be downstairs with the kids when they woke up. It's like 6:30, whatever it was. And we had a playroom and I would lay on the floor and I'd literally be falling asleep on the floor. They're jumping on me and all this stuff. But I was there with them.
Yeah.
And it was always so much fun because I didn't get to spend, when I got home, I used to get home, maybe I was there when they went to bed. But sometimes I wouldn't be. So
you paid your dues.
I did.
Yep.
I did pay my dues for years. I'm glad that
all right,
it's over.
Computer wise, I think I had my first, encounter with updates that screwed up something.
Oh, it's big time this week. Yes, sir.
It is ridiculous.
Did
Absolute
any of it involve 365?
um, no,
Yeah, go ahead.
but
I'll
but
tell you about.
but the customer that I had that with does not use 365. I have not heard from anybody that does. This one, um, they were they have a shop where they have a piece of software, proprietary software that prints the receipts and all that. And in the morning, he called and he said, that was Wednesday morning. He called and he said, last night, and they leave it on all the time. But last night, it used all the paper. It kept on printing
Oh,
stuff. And I said, what kind of stuff? Is it junk or is it legitimate stuff? He said, well, to me, it's junk, but it's English. I said, okay, let me come by. So I went and it printed like maybe 4 lines. The main thing about it was that it said that it was uh, IPP protocol and what's the host. And it had some kind of like a formatting tags of HTML in it, but it was only
oh,
for so. And sure enough, I mean, you turn on the printer, it just prints.
oh.
So I went and started reading and reading and reading about it. And they said, you need to turn off the, what do you call it, internet printing. No, yeah, internet printing protocol. I mean, I said, do you print from outside? No. I said, okay, so I can turn that off. That didn't help. What were we going to say?
No, go ahead. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about trying. I
And,
don't think I've ever encountered that.
and I went ahead and I'm reading more, and they all talk about how to turn it on, but not how to turn it off. And there were some about turning it off, and I do it, and it wouldn't work, and I would reverse it because things that I never came across, I didn't want to mess up the computer.
Mm.
Um, I finally noticed something in the device printer where all the printers are listed. It says driver not available.
Oh,
And I said, what is this? He said, well, we switch between two computers with that switch here, the KVM. And if it's on one, then the other one will not print. And it'll say that it's not available. So I said, no, but it's on that. And it still says that. So I started reading about that. I said, okay, the driver is bad. So I'm going and I'm downloading the new one. And I said, who installed this? No, no, no. First, I went ahead and I said, call the company with the software. Make sure that if I delete the printer driver and reinstall it, it's not going to mess up your software because they just updated and I thought maybe they installed it, but no. So he said, no, it's okay. I mean, I installed it. I said, okay. So I installed the driver from HP. Everything works okay. It's not doing it anymore. And I said, okay, who installed the driver? He said, nobody. I mean, we connected the printer and Windows found the driver. Obviously, it was working. So apparently, the win it and I did a test print before and after, and one of them said
oh yeah.
HP Universal Printer Driver, and after the driver it says HP and the model number and everything. It was obviously a different driver. So it seems like the printer that Windows finds out there somewhere and installs just so you can print is not all that it's cracked out to be.
Like tested.
I guess, and with the update, something screwed up. But after that, and since then, I mean, I call him every day. No, it's fine. It's not doing it anymore. Well, look who joins us.
Yeah, and
Happy
he's
Father's Day.
Happy
Happy
Father's Day.
Father's
And
Day.
and aren't you gloating over where you're sitting now? There's beautiful lake in the background.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the our viewers in the show have already seen this background about a year ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
So you're
yeah,
you're still in Canada.
yeah, we're still here
Yeah, nice.
visiting
So,
family,
hmm?
visiting family,
Yeah,
and
nice.
enjoying Father's Day with the fathers.
With the elders.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, so that's the problem that I saw, that I'm still attributing it to update, because I went to
Yeah.
see if it did it automatically, and sure enough, it did. Because when I did check for updates, there were none.
I mean,
And
that whole things with printers going away started with Windows 10. I remember that. I'd have issues
by
with
the way, this is
customers.
a Windows 10.
Oh, it
I
is, yeah,
forgot to
because
say, yeah.
it would just something would happen, the database would change, and during the update, it would
No,
remove the older driver, but there was no new driver. And
amazing.
then, yeah, it's just so in some cases you can go back and find an older driver that would work with Windows 10, like a Windows 7 driver or
I
a
mean,
Windows 8
their
driver. You could
drivers are
occasionally,
available on the manufacturer sites. They're
yeah,
available
they
for
don't,
Windows 10. No, no problem.
the- but
Yeah,
but there are older. Like I had an
yeah.
issue with
If
some
they're
old Canon,
old,
uh, old.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean they were really nice printer scanner collators, the whole thing.
yeah.
And the only driver I could get for Windows 10 was a Windows 7 driver, and it worked, but it was really wonky. But and finally
So
they got rid of it because it was just too much trouble.
what were you saying about 365?
Oh yes, got a call from a customer, desperate call, saying I can't open 365. I'm getting all kinds of weird errors. Meaning he can't open Outlook.
Okay.
And so I said, when did this start? He says, I got up this morning, it was doing it. So he had to send a proposal out. I said, well, and I reminded him, don't you still have webmail? Because
Mhm,
his hosting is Earthlink.
mhm.
He goes, oh yeah. I said, well, you can do attachments
Yeah,
in webmail. Oh, so I'm glad I told him. He didn't know. So I said, send me an attachment, a text document in using the webmail to make sure it works. And it did, of course, it worked. So there's still issues. He gets all kinds of weird messages when he tries to open up 365. And it's saying your Microsoft account and all these different. It's like, what? What do you mean, what Microsoft account? So I'm going to remote in tomorrow
okay,
and see
yeah.
what's going on. I think it's just going to have to reinstall 365, but I'm not sure if he's up to date on updates. It's Windows 10, and the uh, doesn't necessarily stay up with them, and when he gets a notification, kind of, I have several customers that just say, see it there, they just ignore it. I go in, it's like, you have 10 updates that you need to do. Oh, that's what that little thing on the bottom means. So,
Yeah.
chances are he is up to date on this, and this broke from an update. So we'll see.
So, another story here, it says Malwarebytes confirmed today, last week, that Windows 11 22H2 and the KB cumulative update release dispatched Tuesday breaks Google Chrome on its customers' system. While uninstalling that update fixes the issue, admins report that it's not possible to do it via Windows Server update services because of a catastrophic error. The Google Chrome process is actually running, but it's prevented from fully launching the application and loading the user interface due to the conflict. So this a lot of people are using malware bytes, and that's with Chrome not coming up. Wow.
Well, there's nothing catastrophic about not using Chrome.
Well, they said that that's what the Windows
I'm
server is
just
complaining
no, no,
about.
I'm just kidding. Yeah,
No, no.
like
Oh,
it
It all
sounds.
depends on your perspective or your or or your background. As far as when you see an error message, you can panic.
yeah.
And you can
So
panic over plumbing too, right, Amnon?
of course,
Yeah.
yeah. So everybody knows when you shut the water from under the sink, clockwise is if you don't have a quarter turn. Clockwise is shutting it off. Counterclock is opening it up.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey.
I mean, um,
Like
piracy release group called Cakes has shut down, dealing yet another hit for the piracy ecosystem. Torrent Freak reports that for several decades, the scene has been the main source of all pirated content made available on the internet. Technically, release groups operate in a closed ecosystem, but the reality is different. The vast majority of files published on a private scene server eventually find their way to the public pirate site. The secretive nature of the scene has been scene is the name of a service like uh, has been a major challenge for law enforcement. But in the summer of 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice made a major breakthrough. Following a thorough investigation, three members of the illustrious Sparks group were indicted. The raid and the criminal investigation sent shockwaves around the scene. Some groups stopped releasing entirely, and others significantly slowed down their output, which was felt in many parts of the public piracy ecosystem too. So that's another setback for big piracy um, services. Um,
A
yeah,
scene
go
is
ahead.
not necessarily a specific server.
Oh, what is
A
scene?
scene, yeah. So, if anybody has ever downloaded pirated content from the network, it doesn't matter when. It could have been back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Uh, so you would usually find the file name describing the media, and you will then find at the end of it some sort of blurb, bunch of letters, usually some sort of name that you'd see repeated on multiple names. That indicates the scene. The file will usually be accompanied something called an NFO, an info file, and in it, some sort of ASCII art of the scene the file originated from. The scene is the initial distributor. So if we're talking about software, it's the the group of people uh, who hacked the copy of the software, or it'll be in video and audio, the group of people who actually got hold of the original copy and converted it to MP3. Today it's ACC or FLAC or something like that. And so the scene is the origin, the group of people who took care of fetching the media for the first time. And the reason it's a scene name and never a username or
Hmm.
something like that, because they wanna remain obscure, right? Uh, Now, each scene group like that usually uses multiple methods to disseminate whatever they pirated. Um, I never really understood that part because I don't really think there's any profit. Like if we're comparing this type of piracy to old school type of piracy of the sea, right? That was done for profit. That was 100% done for profit. This is the part where I'm completely like in the dark. I've never understood the motives other than because we can, right? Uh, I'm pretty sure some profit is involved as well, right? Maybe collecting some registration fees, or somebody else is paying for the servers and the equipment, and they get to use it. But it's when we say piracy, the word piracy today is more about the theft, but never about who's doing any profit out of it, right? uh, just loss of profit for the large corporation. And
Okay.
anyway, the scene are just those who are taking responsibility of the stealing. Okay,
Mhm.
so targeting them makes sense. It's a lot more than, let's say, targeting a torrent site that just spreads out those copies. So
Okay.
yeah.
Alright. Alright, that's goody to know.
But I don't know if it's good to know. The fact that I know does not mean it's good. It's just a bit of information.
It's interesting when you're chasing an issue in a store, you find out there is somebody that actually knows. Might be
Yeah,
hard to find, but you know, you do find somebody who knows.
I've been exposed to these scenes. I mean, since early 90s, since the days of BBSs, uh, when we would dial up to a server somewhere, a computer with a modem, right?
Right.
Nothing very elaborate. Most of the time, it'll be a single line, somebody operating from a home or an office or something like that as a hobby. Uh, the legitimate part of a BBS would be the FidoNet. You remember those?
Yeah.
Remember that pre-internet network?
Yep.
Uh, and and the other part would be the files that people are either uploading and mostly downloading. And some of those files would be indicated even at that age, at that state of internet, before an internet would actually exist, would be these scenes. I've never understood how they form, how they that part is completely opaque to me. It
Uh,
it hasn't even been a subject of any Hollywood movie, right? It's like it's probably not that interesting. So we never get those details.
Alright. Last week, we adjusted something on in Zoom, and now
Mhm.
I've got an original sound for musician is of and I don't remember. You guys told me
Yeah, I remember we set that up.
where
Yeah,
was it?
but
Yeah, but now there is a tag over there on the left that keeps
yeah,
saying that I want to turn it back off. Where was
don't.
it?
Well, it's showing up on the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you
We can see it.
I moved it aside here. Let me show you. Let me put it back here. I just noticed it and I said, "What in the world is that?" You see on the upper left?
Yeah. Let's worry about it after the show.
Well, I'd hate for
Uh,
it to be here now.
yeah.
Was it a big deal to get into?
No, but it means your screen will show up a bunch of stuff. But don't worry
Okay,
about it.
never mind.
It's fine.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So never mind. All right. Okay. So, internet wise, this I mean, I did not save the whole story, but this is very interesting. Very short and kind of sweet. Comcast complains to the FCC that listing all of its monthly fees is too hard.
Too hard.
Too hard for
Yeah,
them to just
actually, they are correct. It is too hard for us as well.
Yeah, to find it.
This is unbelievable. I mean,
We are in
I don't
complete agreement.
I don't know, amazing.
Amazing.
Um,
Yeah.
one good
Corruption.
one thing about, internet that's actually it's got good stuff in here that we'll see. A massive federal effort to expand internet access to every home in the US. Can you can you
No matter what
actually
the cost.
can you believe that this day there are homes that don't have internet? I mean, it's not that they can't afford it. They can't there's no facility for them to get into. I mean, it's
Oh,
hard to believe.
drive I-40 through Arizona and New Mexico, and you'll understand why.
Well, so it
There are
says,
people, they have power, but they don't have internet.
Uh,
So,
well,
there's one thing I don't get about the law, though. So they want to expand
so they are
for every
now.
home.
Let me
What about homes who don't want it?
well, the
you're going to get it.
it took a
Amy,
major
the Mennonite.
that effort took a major step forward on Friday with the announcement of $930 million in grants to shore up connections in remote parts of Alaska, rural Texas, and dozens of other places where significant gaps in connectivity persist. How many times did we hear that?
Oh,
Well,
20 years or more.
It's amazing every time. Okay, here's the money, do it.
I had a friend who worked for Nortel who got laid off, who joined he was a contractor for the North Carolina internet program to get to rural places. And he worked on it for 2 years. He said, get nothing done.
Yeah, it's just amazing. They always talked about it, and yeah, the providers were giving, and this one is will do it, and MindSpring will do it, and and nothing. Maybe they'll add one or two areas, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing.
Well, putting in infrastructure is expensive. And when you
Yeah,
don't have and I mean, the best solution would be fixed wireless.
absolutely,
It'd be
and
a
it
lot
can
cheaper to do that than to lay cable everywhere. But
absolutely, and Google did it in quite a few areas. I
yeah,
don't know.
so how much of this grant money is Starlink going to grab?
I don't know.
they're kind of oversubscribed at the time
I
now,
don't know.
and it's just not. The network is getting slower and slower because of all the people coming on, and having more satellites doesn't mean you're not gonna oversubscribe. So I don't know. RV people were way early on top of this, and they found a way to get around the address issue. They would go to a spot that was open for new subscribers, and they would sign up, and they would get service, and then they'd drive around, and then especially people who live in
Hmm,
their RVs, and it was working great at first, and not so much
interesting.
anymore. I don't know where it's going to go. Did you see the latest launch? SpaceX launch from Vandenberg this week.
No.
They called it a
Whose launch was it? Who launched?
SpaceX.
Oh,
SpaceX.
okay.
Yeah, SpaceX. But it had over 500 different objects on board, and it was
Wow.
like it had 50 something different clients all sending, and they showed the open cowling of the bay, and it was just everything you could think of, and little micro pico satellites they call them, and there were all different 50 something different countries from around the world. It was amazing, and it was their 200th successful launch and recovery of a first stage booster, and they had two launches on the same day,
Wow.
Well,
one in
Nice.
Florida and one in
I
Vandenberg.
wonder. I mean, it sounds to me like they've proven there's profitability in 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 making these, right? Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of
I
course
wonder
there
if
is.
they are profitable on them.
I
I
mean,
really doubt that they will be doing anything that's not profitable.
Well,
Well, I mean,
grants go a
the
long
fact
way.
that they get the money, right? Exactly. The fact that they got the money, right, doesn't mean that they have become profitable yet. Have they recovered all of the losses? Have they recovered all of the costs?
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
but the fact that they did 200 successful launches and retrievals. Besides, there's a retrofitting after the retrieval, right? So there's
Yeah,
always
and
cost involved.
the booster
It's
that they
interesting.
used in this launch was like the 16th time it's been used.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to what we knew, right,
Yeah.
from NASA's original
Oh
programs. So
gosh.
that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just I sit there and I watch this stuff, and I just can't. I I said this was looked at as science fiction, like it would never happen, and then all of a sudden it
Right.
happens, and it's not just one company. So
Right.
can we do specials now?
Absolutely. That's how I was just going to say.
Okay,
You
cool.
ready?
I am ready. And happy Father's Day. And if you didn't get something for Dad, most of the stuff is good dad stuff. Some of them are not necessarily tech things, but I actually didn't realize in my wake up stupor this morning, I actually put two dash cams in here,
Yeah.
but they're different kinds. The one is a front and back one, which is pretty cool. It has a remote camera for the back, so you got to. I've seen that now more and more. You watch the compilations of dash cam footage that people put on YouTube. It's the rear facing cams now are much more popular, and the prices are coming down. So all of this stuff is from Slick Deals, and all of the links to the actual deal
Nice.
are included in each of the images. So um, this is a uh, off-brand dash cam 4K 2.5K front and back 1080p Wi-Fi GPS night vision. I don't know what the parking thing is. Maybe it's just that it remembers where you park. I don't know.
Oh, no. It works when you're parked. So if somebody hits you.
Oh, okay, that's good. So parking response.
Yeah.
$46, normally
Dang.
$200. Remember the one that you gave me a while ago,
Yeah.
Amnon?
Yeah.
It turned out that it only worked. It was like motion capture. It only did it when there's something weird
I
about it. It
don't
didn't record
remember.
all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it was weird, and I couldn't get it to work. But okay, this next thing is those of you who are CarPlay enthusiasts probably don't like the fact that the limitation you have to using CarPlay is you got to plug in the Android or iPhone. Well, they have had for a while, which was very expensive, was wireless CarPlay. It is possible. It'll use Bluetooth to connect to your phone and do CarPlay. So here is a CarPlay wireless adapter for $46. Even the $149, the original price of this, was cheap compared to what I'd seen. If you go to what's that audio place you go to for radios and stereo stuff?
Yeah. Crutchfield.
Crutchfield. You go there, and it was like a CarPlay wireless adapter was $400 or $500. So if this works, and this does work with it, it cuts it off on the bottom. It's supposed to work for Android and for iPhones. I
Mhm.
don't know what the interface is like, how it connects, but hey, if it works,
Yeah.
maybe it's a you plug the interface cable into this, and then it talks Bluetooth to your phone. That's probably how it works. This next one, I just looked at this and I said, I want this. This would be so cool. My daughter's car, Eve's Saturn, when you change the transmission fluid, it has the most bizarre procedure to change the transmission fluid. You have to jack the car up so you can get under there and drain the fluid and when you fill it, there's a hole that
Yeah.
determines how high the fluid is, right?
Yeah. There's no stick.
There's no stick. But the car has to be level to
Mhm.
check it.
Yeah.
So the car has to be jacked up on all four wheels off the ground. And I
Right.
can do that in my garage. I have jack stands. But boy, would I love to be able to do this.
Mhm.
Oh, it would make it so much easier. So I'm actually getting ready to do that on her car.
I don't
I
know
have
that
the
I
kit.
would trust it, especially
No, but
that looks like a Mercedes.
I would reinforce it with something else. But
Yeah.
the fact is that if I didn't have to jack it up,
Right.
and this is sold by Costco. I was amazed. I
Huh.
don't think that Costco would sell something like now. They have some like their triple fuel generator that
Does
they
it
sell.
say anything in there
Stuff like that.
how high actually
No,
it
I
doesn't?
didn't go
Okay.
into the deep, but
Alright, never
it
mind.
looks like at least a foot
Alright,
based
keep
on the
going.
brackets.
Yeah.
So, but hey,
Yep. Yep.
but it's 12.99. Normally 1600.
Oh.
All right. So if you'd like to get a package of a 24 pack of 200 ampere hour Amazon Basics rechargeable nickel metal hydride batteries, 1955 for 24, normally $35 from Amazon. We've got
These
a
are
great,
rechargeable.
they're rechargeable,
Yeah,
yes, rechargeable nickel metal hydride.
right.
Uh, Lenovo Idea Center 3 desktop i5. I know seen these before, but it's a refurb for 350, normally 525, and
Well,
this make a great little server.
this is fantastic server because it's an i5 12th generation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Remember, the 12th generation is a leap, is a huge leap from the previous one. So an i5 is a fantastic server for 12. I think this is
16 gig.
yeah, and
yeah,
a
and this is
512
like
S 512 solid state. I thought it was
right. This
really
is
good.
either 8 or 10 cores, right?
Yeah.
This is a fantastic for a home server.
So that guy that lost his connection to Amazon, we need to tell him to. And the funny part about somebody had another video about his video. A guy saw now this is a good time for you to go ahead and build a local server to manage all your stuff so you have connection to it. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So the next one, this is a deal, and this is from Amazon. If you want to get a large screen monitor, a 32-inch, $89 smart TV. I mean, the last time I bought a TV this size for $89, it was not a smart TV. I got it at Walmart because I wanted a TV for the bonus room, and I had an Amazon Fire Stick to connect to it. But this is the deal for $89 for 30. I would buy it just to have just for the monitor.
Notice it's 720p. So as
I
a
know
monitor,
most of
yeah,
the 32s out there are going to be 720p.
right,
But for a
right.
monitor and for an inexpensive TV, smart TV, this
For
is a
in an
good deal.
expensive, let's put it this way: for a TV in the garage, if you
Yeah.
want like a screen to display something that you don't worry too much about it, or for the yard, fantastic.
Yes. Because yeah, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of people put them out on their porch. It's like,
right,
well,
exactly,
it's
something
kind of a
like that.
hostile environment, but
Exactly.
got to keep it protected. All right. So this next one is also I just saw the prices that I have to mention this. And this is a link to a bunch of different Coleman deals. Now, because it says 64 quart series hard wheeled cooler, right? Well, that's not what I'm pointing out here. That for 46. I'm pointing out the instant canopy sunwall for 1765. It's like we go to a lot of outdoor events because we're RVing. And we went to that music festival and people brought canopies and they were allowed to have them in the field and set them up in the sun. It was wonderful. And I have one, but it's a very heavy, uh, big deal to take. This would
Uh,
probably be a lot
you
easier.
are not getting this canopy for no 1765. What's the trick? What am I missing here?
I don't know. I went to the Slick Deals page and it says Coleman is selling these things. So it says Coleman.
I know, but it also says that it's a hard-wheeled cooler for $46.
No, I think it's the
$46.
same page
It's the
showing
same page.
multiple.
It's got
Yeah,
this is a link to a page that has all the deals from Coleman, and the one they show
Wow.
is the $17 canopy, sun canopy. Now,
Dang.
when it says sun canopy means it's probably not waterproof, but
Okay.
I worry more about this
Yeah,
the
you
sun
need
than the
to dig
rain.
into it and see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, this next one, these are handy. I have a Wi-Fi version of this that works with my iPhone, a little endoscope camera on a flexible cord. That's really cool to drop it down into things. But this one's even more capable. It is a standalone device. This does not
Wow.
require a phone. It's got a screen built in. It's got recording. It says 11 and a half foot cable, 8 gig memory card for $35.
That is
Again,
nice. Yeah.
and this is Father's Day, for the fathers here, please do not use this instead of endoscopy.
I'm going to open up my own discount clinic. Come on in. $29.95. If you'd like copies of the footage, it's $39.95. Here's another dash cam, and this is a little bit different design. This I like the way, I don't know what this pad. I guess it's the way the pad attaches to the glass.
I think
But,
it's a sticker, and then you
peel it off and
clip
it sticks up there. A different
Yeah, and
form
you can
factor.
take it out. Yeah.
Quad HD is a higher resolution than that last one. Car dash cam, $79, and that's on Amazon. And finally, for all you dads out there that are classic Lego fans, I know a lot of people that do it. My son is one. This is a from Costco, $20, 1,700 Lego Classic Space Mission set. Wow.
Oh, I remember playing with that as a kid.
Oh, it's great.
I'm
It's
that
great.
young.
I have a camper, like an RV that somebody gave me that I built out of Legos, doors and everything. Go, it's crazy. But yeah, my son has a lot of this stuff, and we'll occasionally find something and give it to him as a gift. And his son, my grandson now, is getting into it. He's got the larger blocks, but he builds a lot of stuff. So
Oh, so
That
these
is
are
nice.
in warehouse. So you need to go to Costco.
yeah, they're in
Find these.
warehouse. Availability may vary, so
Yeah,
but $20.
cool.
I didn't
cool.
see it the last time I was there, but I was there on a quick trip and didn't really. I usually walk down every aisle, and that's a problem
Yeah, I know what you mean.
because I'll see stuff. Oh, wow, gotta have this. So, all
Yeah.
right, that's our quickie specials for Father's Day, June 18th, 2023, and I will be leaving in 4 minutes.
All right. Thanks, Spence.
Oh, you're welcome.
That's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yep.
And I'll be sure to report back on what my secret
Yes.
event is today
Right.
that I don't know what's going to happen. I had my son and my grandson are taking me somewhere. I don't know where it is yet. Fun. So
Okay.
how it
Well,
goes.
enjoy.
Yeah. So hey guys, enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, Spence.
And
I mean, we
I'll
know
be.
what it is, but
I don't know what it is yet. My
no, we know.
wife.
We know.
Oh, you guys know? Oh no.
Yeah.
Is it involve a helicopter?
we're sworn to secrecy.
Oh yeah. Does it involve a helicopter?
Closed toes, shoes, please.
Close. Snakes. No snakes. So I'm renovating the bus in the background. This is a 1946 Trailways bus. This belonged to a musician I knew first couple of years up in Alaska, and he lived in this in the summertime. And he let me look inside one time, and it was set up for a band to travel in. It needed a lot of work, but it's very interesting. 1947. Okay, guys, have fun. See you next week.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Spence.
All right, bye.
Take care and have a happy Father's
Oh,
Day.
thank you. You too. Have a safe trip back, Al.
Thanks.
All right, bye.
All right. Gal, do you want to stay a while or do you need to go
I'm
back
here.
to the
I'm
family?
here.
All right.
No,
Well,
everybody's half awake, so it's okay.
I
That's why
mean,
I'm outside.
I was thinking, just cut the show short today, but it's fine.
We can.
I'm fine.
Well, let's see what you have
All right.
in stock. If it's
So,
interesting, we'll continue. If not,
Listen to this. YouTube has sent a cease and desist letter to Invidious, an open source alternative front end to the website, or to the YouTube
Yep.
website, which allows users to watch videos without having their data tracked, claiming
Yes.
it violates YouTube's API policy and demanding that it will be shut down within 7 days.
Yep.
They say, we recently became aware of your product or service Invidious. He read the letter, which was posted on the Invidious GitHub last week. Your client appears to be in violation of the YouTube API services, terms and service, and developer policy. The letter then delineates the policies which Invidious is accused of having violated, blah, 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 such as not displaying a link to YouTube's terms of service or clearly explaining that it does what it does with user information. Invidious is open source software licensed under AGPL 3.0 and is markets itself as a way for users to interact with YouTube without allowing the site to collect their data or
Right.
having to make an account.
Right.
Invidious protects you from the prying eyes of Google, its homepage says. It won't track you either. Invidious also allows users to watch videos without being interrupted by annoying ads, which is how
Mhm.
YouTube makes most of its money.
So Invidious is fantastic,
Yeah,
and everything stated there by YouTube is actually by the cease and desist letter is in a way completely false.
really?
Yeah. So the reason it's completely false is because let me ask this. If you run a browser and you open an embedded video from YouTube,
Okay,
okay? Did you sign any agreement with YouTube that you are allowing YouTube to collect information about you?
probably.
No.
Probably
You've
somewhere.
opened, well, if you open the front page of YouTube, right? You're not signed into any Google account.
Right?
You're in a browser not owned by Google, right? And you're browsing YouTube, you can still watch videos, right? Most of them.
True.
Okay. So nobody has signed any agreement, right?
Not yet. Yeah. Okay.
So I can watch on YouTube site with any browser. I can watch videos without paying anything, without signing anything, without agreeing to anything. Are we? As long as we're clear on that, that means Invidious isn't violating anything because they're not using Google's API. They are basically mimicking a browser going to that website, and they are not. You do not necessarily need to create a user. You can. You do not need to,
Hmm.
right? And so what it does, it uses YouTube's public endpoints, which do not require any user license agreement. You do not need to log in. You do not need to identify yourself. And it just provides alternative front end. So you install this on a machine, either on your PC or on a server in your network, right? And you use that to watch the videos. And it bugs the hell out of YouTube.
Of course.
Yeah. But in practice, the software is designed in such a way that it is not violating anything.
So
And
I'll
it
have.
allows you to download the videos, it allows you everything because it just reuses everything that YouTube is already exposing out,
Hmm.
right? Just not in the way YouTube intended to. And that bugs the hell out of them. The moment YouTube becomes a login only website, then yes, Invidious can't do anything, right? Because every user who is signing in will need to agree to
Yeah.
the agreement.
Yeah. Well.
Uh, so that's the thing, and I think Invidious they're going. So when they published that letter, uh, it the letter ended with, "Okay, guys, you know what to do," which practically means fork the hell out of this project. And this is the address outside of GitHub that you will be able to find this project, right? And etc. Uh, it'll be interesting now. I'm guessing the GitHub repo will be blocked very soon if it hasn't been blocked yet. And it'll just move. This project isn't stopping It might be called something else. It might be forked to by a couple of other people and managed. And this is like YouTube is are they going to try to play whack a mole? I don't think they'll be successful unless they really make changes to the site, which will hurt them like in such a drastic way that probably won't happen. So yeah, it's an interesting situation. Uh, Look, we're not even talking about piracy here. We're talking about what YouTube is exposing
Right.
by
Yeah.
default, right? As is. Uh, it's can you outlaw a browser basically, right? Which
That's what they're
is
doing
like
in a way. Yeah.
this is sort of a browsing proxy specifically designed for YouTube. Okay, so it's not benign, it's not innocent. Nobody's claiming that,
Right.
right?
No,
Uh, but is it illegal, right? And
it's
that
not illegal.
so in a way, it's not violating any contract because there is no
Yeah.
contract to be signed. So this is an interesting
It'll be
set
nice
of
to follow this.
I will I
Yeah.
mean if this ever gets to I doubt it will, but if this ever gets to a court, right? I would love to hear the verdict on this because this will either open up the internet or close it down, right? It's like make it more constrictive and less of an open experience.
YouTube should have
So
just
yeah,
said, "Hey, we'll buy it," and that's it,
yeah, that
and
won't
kill it.
happen. I don't think.
But
Well, even if they did,
yeah,
right,
somebody
which
else.
is not their MO, by the way, but even if they did, I don't think anybody would sell, right? It's not there's not really anything here to sell. The license does not have ownership. So even if the guy gets paid, shuts down the
Site.
service, the code is already out there, and the code is licensed in such a way that it can be perpetually shared. So that's why it's using
Well,
AGPL.
until, like you said, YouTube decides to play whack-a-mole and they change something that will cause it not to work, just little thing that will cause it, and then there is
Right.
no development to counter it.
Well, it's never developed by one person, not these type of projects, right? So this type of
Yeah,
project has been around for a long time.
true,
So
true.
one developer will be restricted, then another one, and then another one. So another one will pick it up. It might take time. It won't be immediate, but it's like this isn't going away.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah. I'm guessing what will happen. Part of the whack-a-mole is, and this is just a guess, but if and this is going to piss off a lot of unknowing users. Uh, the moment IPs will be detected to be using something like Invidious, then YouTube might try to ban those IPs for a while, like for 10 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 24 hours, etc. Uh, and let's say you're doing it from a cafe somewhere with free Wi-Fi, then it's going to piss a lot of people, right? Because that cafe is suddenly
Yeah,
so public Wi-Fi's will suffer and stuff like that. So it's a beginning of an interesting process. It'll be interesting to see where YouTube decides to take.
yeah. Like I said, we'll need to follow it and see.
We I wasn't here last week. Did you talk about the Reddit API stuff?
No, I don't
Okay,
exactly understand it. I tried to figure it out, but I know it's escalating.
right. So this is the Reddit API is another side of exactly the same problem. So the way you can browse Reddit today is either with a web browser,
Hmm.
uh, you can interact uh, with Reddit, as in leave comments, upvote, downvote, etc. After you signed in, uh, and and the alternative is to use their mobile app. The thing about their mobile apps is most of their users do not like Reddit's version of the mobile app for multiple reasons. One of them is excessive tracking of information. Others are just they don't like the UI, and so there are up until now there were a wide range, at least in the Android world. And I'm pretty sure, and I know that also in the iOS. I just don't know the names of the apps. There are a wide range of applications to access Reddit, and so uh, in order for those applications to work properly and display stuff properly, they need to use the Reddit API.
Okay.
And up until now, it was free for the operator of the application to uh, to do that. They weren't penalized if a lot of users were using your version of the client. The thing is, one of the things that the users of these apps do not get, they do not get the ads, right? Very similar to what's going on with Invidious in YouTube. They do not get the ads. Uh, Tracking is obscured, so Reddit cannot really make a profit out of somebody's browsing through a third party app. And so Reddit came out and said instead of banning all of these, they went a different way. They said we just want you to pay me $1 million. I'm exaggerating
Yeah.
on purpose. Say pay me $1 million and you can use it. It's like it's for a community project, right? For something that is done for not for profit. And there is no way for the developers of the apps to continue sustaining the app with the cost incurred by Reddit, even if they add ads of their own or they try to subscribe users for paying for the apps. Because some of the users says, okay, I'm willing to pay for an app, but not Reddit's version. I want that version, right? Stuff like that. There's no way for these apps to survive.
Mhm.
And with these apps, there's a huge ecosystem. Well, I don't know how huge, right? I'm guessing Reddit feels that it's not big enough, but there's a large number of users who are saying, hey, if I can't use the app that I like, I'm not going to use Reddit. I don't care. I'll find another place where I can communicate with people, and it won't be Reddit. So this is what's going on right now. Reddit is trying to fight these third-party apps that circumvent everything that Reddit can know about its users and the ads that it serves, uh, and are telling them you want to control the UI. We're fine with it, sort of, right? As long as you pay us way too much money for what you're getting. Uh, the way I see it, so this triggered a sort of protest in a way.
No, it's a
A lot of
protest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of communities have shut down.
Right.
If you try to access them and you didn't join before or something like that, uh, they are marked as private. You cannot access them anymore. Um, uh, Basically, lights out sort of protest. Some of these did it just for one day. I think it was June 15th. I don't remember. They set up a date and then they shut down for that day. Others are still down, and this is not because Reddit shut them down. This is they are protesting, trying to raise awareness that Reddit is trying to squash this type of engagement. Um, in a way, I think Reddit is doing it. At least I understand their motives. I understand what they're doing. It's their complete right. They can measure the impact immediately, and they can understand whether they want to continue with this or not. Uh, I think there is a way for the apps to actually continue and survive. It just means that it's going to require their users to be a lot more technical and have each user of the app open a developer account and get an API key of their own. This is things that we've seen happening with Google Image API search API, uh, Google Maps. If you want integration to an open source software that shows you maps from them, you can create your own free API, which is limited to a number of calls a day, rate limited, stuff like that. So I'm guessing that's the change that we're going to see in Reddit. It's not going to be as bad as its users are claiming to, but it's definitely going to require users to be more hardcore tech oriented to solve this instead of just very easily disseminating an alternative. But yeah, it's another interesting development.
it's still developing.
Yeah,
It's
everything is still developing.
yeah.
Everything is brand new. And the interesting thing is that it's happening in tandem in these two really large sites, right? YouTube and Reddit. So it's like there is something that they finally feel critical mass is at this point that we need to squash that. Uh, it's interesting.
Huh.
um, yeah, we'll probably have more about it in a few months. But yeah,
All right.
even though
Well,
internet works very fast,
it's still
legalese
yeah.
does not.
Right.
So yeah.
All right. Let's switch then. Google has launched its script editor tool, offering advanced automation for Google Home powered smart home. Available
Okay.
starting Tuesday, June 13th, to those in the Google Home public preview. The script editor is part of Google's new home.google.com web interface, which also has live feeds for any Nest cams on your account. The script editor will be coming to the new Google Home app preview starting June 14th. There's no date for general availability, but it's
Yeah.
interesting. Uh, you
My,
have
my suggestion to anybody listening to us: don't touch it with a stick.
okay, good enough.
Yeah.
All right,
It's just. Uh, I mean, if you really want to go into home automation, listen to the guy who Amazon shut off,
yeah,
right, closed off,
yeah,
and do not use anything that is hosted outside of your home,
yep.
like
Do it
literally.
right.
And so don't, yeah, even if it's amazing in its abilities, don't use it. Just don't use it.
Yeah,
And
because
maybe they'll have the decency to kill it quickly. That's all.
all right.
Yeah.
So Texas Governor Greg Abbott has signed a bill prohibiting children under 18 from joining various social media platforms without parental consent. And we talked about another state last week. I can't remember who it was. Similar legislation has been passed by Utah and Louisiana. The bill requires social media companies to receive explicit consent from a minor's parent or guardian before they'll be allowed to create their own account starting in September of next year. Not this year, next year.
Yeah.
It also forces these companies to prevent children from seeing harmful content, like content relating to eating disorders, substance abuse, or grooming by creating new filtering systems. So, again, it's something, and we talked about it. We said that the hardest part here and the impossible is enforcing it. How are you going to enforce it?
Oh,
How?
the scheme actually already exists. It exists with Microsoft and it exists with Sony. Those are the two that I've encountered personally.
So how do they verify?
It's very they don't well, sort of. Microsoft actually does a verification, which I found interesting. So when you buy an Xbox, right, and you want to register an account for your kid, you do not want, uh, I mean, logically, you don't really want your kid, especially a 13-year-old, right? To have access to something that with a click they can purchase.
Right.
And there's also a federal law prohibiting collecting information digitally about children under 13, right?
Okay.
So what I think they're going to do right now, if you go to sign up with Facebook or any other social media, you need to click an I consent that I am not that I'm 13 or above,
Right.
right? And so that will remain. They will. I don't think they'll even change that. What will change is if you put in a birth date that shows that you're less than 18, it'll say that you that parental consent is required,
Okay.
and they will ask for the email of the parent, right? And then it'll go through a process where the parent needs to register. Microsoft verifies identity by performing a withdrawal of $1 using a credit card,
Oh,
right?
okay. Now
So
that
yeah,
works.
so that's also covering processing fees, and that also covers sort of an identity process. Uh, uh, by the way, right? I don't think uh, um, these states have thought this through, because I think what will happen is actually that consent about being 13 or above is just going to disappear.
18.
I know, but today you need to
Oh,
click
okay.
I consent for 13 and above, right? That one is going to disappear, and these social media platforms now are going to be open legally for 8 years old and 5 years old, because parents who want their children to have a separate account are now allowed to create that account with the correct birth date. And so these social networks, I think that's why we are not seeing so much fight around it, because these states, because they're going to force everybody between 13 and 18 to have parental consent. I think now it will mean for the social media sites. Okay, so that means anybody be below 18, we can get parental consent. We'll also add parental consent to collect information about them, and we'll get them all. So they basically opened the floodgates instead of closing them, because the floodgates were
Hmm.
currently set at 13, and everybody agreed on them. Nobody was fighting that too much, right? Because it seemed reasonable in a way. Now they have actually opened the floodgates, because if forget Microsoft, but if Facebook, right,
Any of them. Any
and
of them.
and TikTok, they need to develop a workflow that is going to require parental consent. So that means they're going now and investing money in developing something that shouldn't break when you register new users. Then why the hell should I limit myself to 13 if I can open it to everyone, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to backfire for them, because whatever they develop, they can do it for all of the states. They can do it all over the world, because suddenly there's parental consent for everything. They just never bothered because they didn't want to get the pushback, right?
Right.
Now
Yeah.
they won't get a
Obvious.
pushback because they must do it. So yeah, so this is going to backfire for sure.
Well, again, we'll have to wait and see. That's
Yeah.
a very interesting thing you mentioned. Yeah. Okay. Next, did you ever hear about Shadow? It's
What
something
concept?
like what do you call it? Dropbox.
What?
Shadow has decided to cut the price of its cloud storage service, Shadow Drive. Users can now get 2 terabytes of storage for $530 a month instead of $960 a month. As for the free
Okay.
tier, what?
That both sounds fantastic.
Well,
So
as for the free tier, things aren't changing. Users who sign up to get 20 gig of online storage for free. Shadow is also the company behind Shadow PC, a cloud computing service that lets you rent a virtual instance of a Windows PC in a data center near you. It works particularly well to play demanding PC games on any device, such as a cheap laptop, a connected TV, or a smartphone. Coming back to Shadow Drive, as the name suggests, Shadow Drive works a lot like Google Drive, OneDrive, iCloud Drive, or Dropbox. Users can upload and download files from the web browser. They are stored in a data center based in France so that you can access them later.
Okay.
That's to have, if you're thinking about 530 a month, that's $50, $60 a year.
For
60
two
and
terabytes
a
of
little bit
data.
more. What?
For 2 terabytes of data,
Yeah.
I mean, buying a hard drive with 2 terabytes will cost you
Uh,
a physical, a mechanical one will cost you around $100.
right.
SSD will cost you around 200. I mean, the deal is great, especially if you need like a remote
Right.
server somewhere,
Offsite. Yeah.
remote storage.
Yeah.
Uh, Sounds good. I will research them. Look
I
them up.
have no idea how much uh Dropbox charges or any
Way
of the
more.
other ones. Google
Way more.
Drive.
But do understand that when you Google Drive, Dropbox, they are highly reliable storage.
Yeah.
They are not so like if they lose the hard drive that your data is on, the data is supposed to be on multiple
Yeah.
drives, multiple locations. So uh, that's part of the reasons these are so expensive, right? It's not because they
Right. It's a
want more
service, it's
money,
not the
which is
actual.
part of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's a service. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you get SLAs on data retention and stuff like that, right? Stuff that you do not necessarily get from this,
Yeah.
but it's interesting.
All right. It's not often that zero-day vulnerability causes a network security vendor to urge customers to physically remove and decommission an entire line of affected hardware, as opposed to
Okay,
just applying software updates. But experts say that is exactly what transpired with Barracuda Networks, as the company struggled to combat a sprawling malware threat which appears to have undermined its email security appliances in such a fundamental way that they can no longer be safely updated with software fixes.
that
Campbell,
is frightening.
it is. Campbell, California based Barracuda said it hired incident response from Mandiant on May 18th after receiving reports about unusual traffic originating from its email security gateway devices, which are designed to sit at the edge of an organization's network and scan all incoming and outgoing email for malware. On May 19th, Barracuda identified that the malicious traffic was taking advantage of a previous unknown vulnerability in its gateway appliances. And on May 20th, the company pushed a patch for the flow to all affected appliances. Now they say take him out of commission. Now, of course, yeah, take him out of commission. We have new devices, you have to buy them.
Yeah, of course.
Probably. But it's interesting that I mean, if your organization is using Barracuda hardware, and a lot of them do.
Yeah, they
Um,
sold a lot of the. What did they say? Did they state the age of the
no,
network appliances?
nope. It sounds like all of them.
Wow.
Yep.
So there's a lawsuit coming in. for
uh,
sure from the
un-
customers.
unless they already protected themselves somewhere in the
It doesn't
terms.
matter. I don't think, even if they did, that'll need to go to court, right?
Uh,
Wow.
yeah, that's really bad. Absolutely, I bet it sent a lot of people out there hunting for replacement.
Well, yeah.
Uh, the what?
This is a death sentence for, at
Well,
least for a product line, right?
yeah, but I mean, they can always come up with a new product line that is not doesn't
But
have the vulnerability. I don't understand why.
yeah, but who would touch Barracuda now? That's the
Well,
thing.
yeah, that's true. Well, there's a lot of people
Yeah.
that are loyal to it. They
Until
think
now.
that
Well,
yeah, we'll have to wait
yeah.
and see. I mean, we
That's
don't
the
have a
thing.
obviously
This is a
no.
death blow.
I agree with you. It's going to be hard to do that, and I don't know what other devices, what other product they have, but yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really bad.
Chat GPT. Mercedes is adding OpenAI ChatGPT to its MBUX infotainment system. US owners of models that use MBUX, MBUX, will be able to opt into a beta program starting tomorrow. That's from last week, June 16th. Activating ChatGPT functionality that's coming from TechCrunch. This will enable the highly versatile large language model to augment the car's conversation skills. I don't know when's the last time I had a conversation with my car. That's you
Well,
can
usually the conversations with my car end up as stupid car. So I don't know.
you can join up simply by telling your car, "Hey Mercedes, I want to join the beta program." I guess that's for real, but
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine how much data the car is going to be using or
Well, not a lot, not a lot, because
ah
nothing is running on the car. It's exactly like a map search,
yeah,
even less.
well,
Yeah, even less, right? You're asking a question, you're getting a couple of sentences back. The
that's
voice,
true. Yeah, that's true.
the
That's
voice
true.
processing is local.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I wonder though.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
I wonder though. Well, they're probably already collecting all of the data anyway.
course
I
they
am
do.
guessing. So this is my guess, right? And I don't think we'll ever get confirmation. This is a complete fabrication of my mind. Uh, Mercedes, they're probably doing a two-way deal. They're providing this to the customers,
Right.
but I am guessing there's a terms of service agreement somewhere hidden in the process where that data is going to be funneled to some sort of analysis engine driven by ChatGPT itself, right? And so this will allow them to use the AI to process the information they're getting from these cars. That's my guess here. The way we've seen companies operate uh, in the past 20 years, this is pretty much how it's going to go. This is Mercedes. Remember, if this was BMW, they would charge you for it. So yeah, the way they charge for the seat heaters, right?
Yep.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. I mean, it seems like it might be better than Google API. And what I really wonder is how come we do not have a phone app like that or some integration into the phones. And I'm guessing it's because Google wants to bring their own, and Apple is probably working on something of their own, right? So, um, yeah, interesting.
Yep. All right. Several U.S. federal government agencies have been hit in a global cyber attack that exploits a vulnerability in widely used software. We talked about it before, but this is according to a top U.S. cybersecurity agency. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency is providing support to several federal agencies that have experienced intrusions affecting their Move It application.
Move
Eric
it.
Goldstein, the agency's executive assistant director for cybersecurity, said in a statement referring to the software impact. We are working urgently to understand impacts and ensure timely remediation. It was not immediately clear if the hackers responsible for breaching the federal agencies were the Russian speaking ransomware group that has claimed credit for numerous other victims in the hacking campaign. So it's again going to that Move It
What is
application.
Move It? I need to look into that. I don't
Yeah.
know anything about that. I'll check. This
Yeah.
sounds like the realm of the company I used to work for, right? Uh, Varonis Systems.
Uh huh.
They uh, they their software is sort of like a big brother in the network that hooks up to as many endpoints as possible in order to collect data about how users internally inside the network use it and detect anomalies. Because this is for business, right? Enterprise, then all of the data already belongs to the enterprise. So there's no, there are some privacy concerns in European countries where they deal with it correctly and all that, but it's all about okay, uh, I know how each person behaves. They build a model, right, and then they detect. So when something like this, a breach like this happens, that software would detect it. I don't know what Move It is, but it sounds to me like Move It, just by the name, is probably some sort of data migration tool. And the moment you infiltrate that, you can ride that operation to hide additional data and eventually exfoliate that. So exfoliate that means take it out of the organization undetected. So it sounds like an interesting attack, especially uh, on federal
It said,
organization.
I just looked at it. It says Move It is a managed file transfer software produced
Yeah,
by IP Switch.
yeah, that sounds like what I said, like a migration, data migration tool, right? You want to move software from one server to another
Yeah.
server, either automatically or in a very, very reliable fashion. You do it with a data migration tool, right? One that not only copies, you can schedule, you can instead of scripting, you use some sort of tool to do it, right?
Yeah. It says Move It
Yeah.
encrypts files
Hmm.
and uses secure file transfer protocols to transfer data with
Yeah.
automation, analytics, and failover options.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So
So,
infiltrating something like that makes a lot
hmm,
of sense because when you design a system like that, it needs to be privileged enough to access all of the other
right.
systems, right?
Yeah.
So if you get access to it and you control it, your network is pretty much screwed. You need something to detect that.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's why I said it's from the realm from where I used to work because that's that's that software used to detect like these anomalies in behavior. Uh, I did
That,
find it funny in the article the politically correctness. A Russian
yeah.
speaking
Yeah.
cyber
Yeah.
security. Like we don't want to trigger anybody. They just speak Russian. It's funny.
Chinese speaking.
Yeah, Chinese speaking, Russian speaking.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I've never heard that term
Yeah.
put
As long
this
as
way
they don't
before.
get
So,
into Hebrew speaking.
yeah. Uh,
In San
well,
Francisco.
no, I don't think anybody will put a ransom notice in Hebrew.
In San Francisco's District 8, a public library has turned off its Wi Fi outside of our business hours in response to complaints from neighbors and the city supervisor's office about open drug use and disturbances caused by unhoused individuals. So apparently, there was uh, that library
Yeah,
provided a guest network. Anybody can log in or can use their
which makes sense, right?
yeah, yeah.
But
But
people outside would gather,
yep,
especially after hours, and continue using it, and so they shut it down. Well,
yep.
yeah, strange.
I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand why a library would leave it running all night long anyway. But it's interesting.
Well, I don't really understand where the news is. It sounds like somebody did something sensible.
There's a lot of stories of what's happening in San Francisco. It's going downhill. There was stories about how hotels over there are going out of business. How the house? I mean, it seems like really everybody's leaving. They cannot fill in. They cannot get people to come and stay in hotels. They can't get businesses to go back into buildings, and it's just amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
and well, they it's a very interesting city, and it's it does have a very unique set of problems that it created along the along its history. Yeah.
no, it's bad. I mean, it's a lot of people are making their money over there. All right. Um, Iran has a quantum computer. You hear that?
No,
What
this is actually
Iran's
interesting.
what Iran's military called the first product of the quantum processing algorithm of the Naval University appears to be a stock development board available widely online for about $600. Motherboard
Okay.
reports. He said, according to multiple state linked news agencies in Iran, the computer will help Iran detect disturbances on the surface of water using algorithm.
Okay.
Iranian Rear Admiral blah blah showed off the board during a ceremony and spoke of Iran's recent breakthroughs in the world of quantum technology. The quantum device appears to be a development board manufactured by a company called Diligent. The
Okay.
brand Z board appears clearly in pictures. According to the company's website, the Z board has everything the beginning develop, developer needs to get started working in Android, Linux, and Windows. It does not appear
Okay.
to come with any of the advanced qubits that make up a quantum computer and
Right.
suggests less the suggested uses include video processing, reconfigurable computing, motor control, software acceleration, among others. So it's fake, but they're known for that.
Mm.
So there are
So, well, yes, maybe, and maybe not. I don't know much about quantum computing, but I do work for a company that
that
does
uses, yeah,
quantum computing.
right.
Um, uh, we do something very unique, but we're not using a quantum computer. There is a term called general quantum computing. Um, uh, that is not usable yet. That's research only.
Hmm.
Uh, there is a term of some very specialized um, uh, uh, quantum computing characteristics that exist today. If you're interested, look up quantum annealers. But that's not what they're describing either. read the first sentence of Iran has quantum something 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 capabilities.
It says the first product of the quantum processing algorithm of the Naval University. It says
Right.
what Iran
So
military called the first
right.
product.
So quantum
Quantum
algorithm
processing algorithm.
processing that can be done on any CPU. That is not quantum computing. So quantum computing brings into it the concept of qubits, which are bits that are neither one nor zero. They can be either one or zero, but they can also be in a superposition state with it, which is you can either think of it of both zero and one at the same time, or neither zero or one at the same time. So this special state, this is what allows the whole concept of quantum computing, the qualities that not qualities but the properties of a qubit, a physical entity that can hold that qubit in that superposition. That is what a quantum computer is built around. But
Okay.
we can emulate some of the math around this with
Any,
regular computers.
okay.
Okay, and I think what they're doing is they're saying they're writing the
Yeah.
buzzword of quantum, right? They actually didn't lie, probably didn't lie. If they showed a GPU or like processor, that's probably what they're using. Uh, I really hope that company does not go bankrupt just because some Iranian chose to buy some Fords over the internet. Uh, but yeah, it's interesting.
To
I
say the
don't know.
least.
They said nothing, right? So it's not like I remember the Israeli Prime Minister doing a show and tell once about some intelligence collection, and they created this placard full
I
of
remember that. Yeah.
uh, plastic pockets with CDs in them,
Yeah.
right? And it was just to show that should just to give an impact of look how much data we retrieved or
Yeah.
something like that, right? And it was a complete farce, right? It's not. I mean, maybe they did have a great intelligent breach, intelligent gathering success, but those discs are like they're not important. Like, why are you showing them? So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's military tech. You know, these countries, right? They used to do war parade, right? With all of the weaponry and all of everything to show, right? North Korea, uh, we like the footage that comes from there when they show that up. It's sort of a muscle flex, an interesting
Oh,
one, not a very successful one.
yep.
Yeah.
All right. What's old is new again, at least in the European Union.
Oh, Windows XP.
No. The European Parliament recently voted in favor of new legislation that would overhaul the entire battery life cycle from
Oh,
design to end of life, which include important caveats for smartphone users. Among the many changes, the new rules would require batteries in consumer devices like smartphones to be easily removable and replaceable.
beautiful, beautiful.
That's far from the case today with most phones, but that wasn't always the case.
We
That
can blame it. We can blame Steve Jobs for that.
yeah,
Yeah, but
that
that's a
will be
beautiful
great.
ruling.
Yeah, that would
That is a
be
beautiful
very
ruling.
nice.
Yeah, I would love now. Remember when we talked about what was it, Chrysler or General Motors complaining about they want to remove the AM radio,
Yeah, oh yeah.
right? Yeah.
That
So it's gonna be so hard to
yeah,
design this
yeah.
yeah, the testing that it will require, the consistency of the build.
Yeah. I mean, this is
Yeah,
the way it was. I mean, it was
yeah, and they were
amazing.
terrific. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, to reset the phone, just take the
I
battery
I
out.
would have I would have also added, right, to that uh like something about the form factor, that it must be uniform, right? But I understand that that's harder to define.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
to require them to
that's harder to
use.
define. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's really hard to define. I'm
yeah,
not saying,
yeah.
but if they would have done that, then that would have been beautiful as well.
Right. Yeah, that could have been. Yeah, they can
Yeah,
do that
yeah.
for the charging port, but not for the battery. That it'll be.
Right, because the
Yeah,
shapes of the devices,
yeah.
they
Right,
do vary, and
right.
that's hard. Yeah, if
Absolutely.
that would have made things clunky. But
Yeah.
hey, all you need to do is just make make it make me able to take
To,
that out and
yep.
replace it. That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in iOS 17, iPhone users who change their passcode will be able to reset it within 72 hours using the previous passcode.
That
However,
makes sense.
users can choose to expire the previous passcode immediately in the Settings app to increase security. Um,
That's good.
it's good, but it's if you are changing it because you were compromised, then you should completely do away with the old one. But yeah, because otherwise it won't do any good. Because you can, unless it's only you can. I have no
Well,
idea.
it sounds like they provision for that as well by,
Allow.
so yeah, so I change the password,
Yeah,
right? I relog in. I probably also invalidate all access from all other devices.
sure.
And if I'm doing it because of a breach, then I'm also saying forget the last
Yeah,
password.
that's right. Yeah.
That's fine. Now, if I was breached and somebody changed it, the real question is whether that switch is tied to a specific device or not, because that would make some sense. Um, there's definitely like if the attacker locks you out, what
All
happens
right.
then,
Then what
right? If the
happens?
attacker can invalidate, the attacker will probably know about that more than you need know at first. So,
True.
but
Yeah.
overall, sounds like at least at least if somebody pranks you, right, you can do something about it, which is not bad. Um, yeah, sounds like a good plan. Let's see.
Well, wait and see
Let's see
what
what
people.
type of mess, yeah, people
Yeah.
are going to get themselves in. But yeah,
Yep. All right. When are you coming back?
unclear. We might be staying here another week. We're
Nice.
enjoying it here. I'm working from here right now, so uh, and the family is happy.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Very good. Good
This
weather.
isn't my scene the entire week, so
Mm.
right. Usually we're in
So you're
Toronto.
really relaxed.
Yeah, had a good night's sleep. We're in a Shomer Shabbat house, so
Yeah, I
Shabbat
know. I
is
heard.
completely offline. So I'm completely relaxed. Yeah. So yeah. Uh, where the weather actually until the weekend was rainy and crappy.
Oh,
Uh, but yeah, this weekend it gave us a fantastic weekend. We're enjoying. We'll
I'm
probably the owners will probably take out the boat soon, and we'll enjoy the waters. So yeah,
I'm not following, and I haven't heard. So the fires are out.
I haven't heard anything, but I don't really follow the news.
Okay. All right.
There wasn't any impact here. Not really. I mean, the only thing news-wise that I've heard was the collapse of the I-95 section.
Yeah.
which we were so lucky to take a different route, right?
Yeah, I was
And
worried
heard
about.
of it, yeah, and heard of it only after the fact. That is a shit show, like
Yeah,
on so many levels. And so yeah, that's really, I really feel for Philadelphia right now. That sounds like terrible,
yeah.
terrible
Think about
thing
all
to
those
happen.
people that traffic is going to be rerouted
Oh yeah,
through
no,
there.
this is,
Wow.
yeah, that route is such a lifeline for
Yep.
the East Coast.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah, so
Yep.
it's gonna affect everything going back home, I'm sure. So yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else?
Nope, nope, nope. Just happy Father's Day. Enjoyed the rest of the day, and was
Same to
happy
you guys,
joining back.
and I'm glad you were able to join.
Yeah. Sorry for joining late.
No, it's fine. It was just fine. I was gonna send you a because Reed was here yesterday, and he was
Okay.
talking about that Shomer Shabbat. So I said, "Oh, so never mind. I forgot today's Sunday, so it's
It's Sunday,
okay."
Sunday,
Yeah,
man. Sunday, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, okay, guys. Well, keep enjoying the scenery and the weather, and I hope everything will be nice. As far as the weather, usually after a long period of rain, it the atmosphere is sucked of moisture, so it's nice after that
Mm,
for quite a few days. So enjoy it.
thank you.
And again, happy Father's Day, and say hi to everybody. And I know Mate is not around you. Is she? No,
Well, I don't know if you can see her through the window,
no.
but she's over there.
All right. So thanks again. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And remember, change same passwords where you use them. Don't use same password on two different sites. You can always reach us at Computers 2K Now. We'll be with you next Sunday at 9, like I said. And remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM. You can just tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave if you want to listen live, or go to the recordings after the fact at nickcraig.com. That's news and commentary, 6 to 9 in the morning. And Tuesdays, 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. Survival games, game news, political commentary, and such. So Tuesdays, 7 p.m., twitch.tv/infection podcast. Have a great week, everybody. And again, Father's Day to everybody. We'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.